Today's video is just pretty much a quick message to make sure that you've got your finger on the pulse and you're ready for next year. Race drivers, it's Enzo with the Race Driver Coach Show. It's the 14th of November when I'm recording this. And that's the time of year when things should be sorted for next year when it comes to your racing. You should be signed up or there or thereabouts. You should have the money in order to pay for next season, or at least the first half of the season, so you can kind of make the first few payments before the season starts and you can start testing. And that's a position that most drivers should be in right now. In real terms, I know a lot of you watching this are not. Maybe you've got like £10, you've got €10 before towards next year's racing. You're literally at the bottom. You've got nothing in place. You've got no team really offering you something that's tangible, and you've got no money to pay for it. I just want to put this video out now to kind of give you a bit of a hurry up, to kind of say, you do realize that you're behind the game. There's drivers out there testing now, learning the tracks. I would say that most of the teams in F2, F3, F4, them kind of championships, if you're going for the F1 route, they've already signed their drivers up. So if you're thinking about going there and racing for a team that's going to be near the front, it's probably too late. August or September, maybe October is when drivers start signing contracts for these big teams. Because as you can imagine, when you go in for something like the F1 route, there's people with money, with sponsorship. There's F1 junior programs that are paying towards the driver's budget. And they get it done early because they want to make sure their driver's in the car, the best team, the current champion. So they fill up quick. And then you got kind of like the mid-pack teams to the bottom end, back end of the grid teams that kind of go till January sort of time, and they've still got a seat or two available. That's how it works. But I'd say, yeah, August, September, top teams have gone, already signed up. All the drivers are ready, even though they're not telling anybody yet. Well, saying that, Behrman just today released that he's with Prema F2. So that's going to be a good year. Hopefully it's going to be with a good team that can teach him a lot, and hopefully we have some success there. But for you, you might not be in that position. You might be in a completely different position where you haven't got the money for next year for what you want to race. Well, now is the time to make the decision about what you're going to do about it. I don't want you just sitting back at home, waiting on these people to call you back that kind of give you a tiny inkling that they might be interested in helping you, and then just emailing them and texting them now and then and hoping they're going to just pay for your racing. Let's just presume that these small irons that you've got in the fire, there's something that could go right, that's amazing if it does. Let's just presume they're not going to happen. And I say that not to be negative, but just to get you prepared and make sure you're on that grid next year. You hear me say it a lot about, okay, let's go for a championship that's a bit smaller, more affordable, so at least we can get you on track. And then you can start to build your portfolio, if you like, and your results and your contacts, and you're on the grid and you're competing. I'd much prefer you to race in a really small championship. I know I'm repeating myself, by the way, but it's so important. I prefer you to race in a really small championship and do well than aim for an expensive championship because it's cool and it's what you want to do and you see other people that you've beaten done it, and then end up at home all year next year because you didn't get the money together. And it's too late now to get the money together for the smaller championship. It's time to prioritize. November, you probably got like 4, 5, 6 months before the first race, but you should be testing now, learning the tracks, getting quick, getting your race car ready, getting the relationship with the team. That all should be happening now. And if it's not, I want you to give yourself a kick up the backside and to start to get really aggressive with your actions. And also entrepreneurial. We've got to start to think about, how can I get in this car? Think outside the box. It's time to take action. I want you to feed, first of all, I want you to feed the pain. I want you now just to imagine what next year will be like and this is for anybody who's got a goal, what next year will be like if once again you fail. Once again, you fail to get on the grid. Once again, you fail to get that promotion at work. What's it going to feel like? You've got to put yourself there now, envisage it next year, how you'll feel, what the life will look like, your world will be day to day, how unhappy you'll be. And then slap back now and just realize that you can turn that around. You can change it now if we start to make a plan. So, example, you've got somebody who wants to go racing, but they really haven't got the money to do it. So, okay, we're going to go out there. We're going to look for the mini championship or something that's doable. And then we're going to come up with a plan for how the devil are we going to get in that car? And look at the options. What's the cheapest? You know, you might as well start with the cheapest, right? It's not ideal, but it's late. The panic button is being hit. You've got to get a move on. So what's the cheapest way that you can race? Even if it means doing a championship that's below what you did this year or the same one, what's the cheapest way of doing it to ensure that you're on that grid or you have half a chance of getting that money together? Shall I buy a car? Shall I go to a sponsor, have a race car, and I can use that race car as a corporate entertainment where I sell tickets for people to come and have a day or half a day or 3 laps in my car, and I'll instruct them around a race circuit, and we can make a nice little corporate entertainment a day of it where they do this and they do a bit of quadding and they do, you know what I mean? The head goes everywhere when you start to think about, okay, I need a plan. I need a way of getting cash in. It doesn't really have to be motorsport related. I just need the cash. I need to know exactly what I'm going to shoot for next year. I'm going to make my contacts, call the teams and know how much it costs and say I'm interested. And I'm going to come up with a way of getting that price down. And then of how to get the money. This is why I really wanted you to kind of start this back in May and start it throughout your current race year. So then the wheels are already turning by the time you get to this time of year. But I know human nature and human behavior, should I say, we don't act until we really have to. And that have to might be a desire for what you want, or it might be the kick up the backside realization that time's running out. I've got to get a move on. That's all I want this video really to be, is like, hello, it's time to go. And when I say go, I mean, realign what you want for next year, make it achievable if you're struggling to get the money for whatever it is or whatever you want to do, and come up with a plan and think outside the box. Like, really do. You know, in my Get the Drive book, I'll show you 8 different ways. It's not a sales pitch, by the way, but I just got to hit it home. 8 different ways in which to get a race seat, to get in that car. Sponsorship is just one of them. B2B is another, but also just being a race entrepreneur, which means the kind of person that can think outside the box. So if you find out you've got a race team, right, that's out there that you can possibly get the money for because it's not too crazy on the budget, and you see that they own a garage, a string of garages or showrooms, you know, they sell cars or something, it's like, okay, if I'm to get in with that team and I can't really afford the budget, maybe I can help their business grow a little bit better. Maybe I can help sell their cars. Maybe I can promote their company, bring them clients, and it kind of gets me through the door with them, and it'll take the budget down, and I'm actually showing them that I'm bringing customers, and as a bit of a favor or return, I don't want commission, I want to do some races in your car. This is thinking outside the box. This is doing whatever you can to hustle your way into that seat. But it's now that you've got to start to plan for this. And not just plan. As soon as that plan's done, it takes about an hour to say what I'm going to do. I'm going to call a team or 2 to get the budgets and make a plan of how I'm going to get that money. After that hour, it's execute. Call somebody up, sell somebody, find out how much a set of tires is. Right, it's $2,000. How am I going to get a sponsor for $2,000 for these tires? And what can I give them? Being a race driver or becoming a race driver when you're not from that world and you haven't got the money to do it is difficult. It's going to mean that you're going to have to be entrepreneurial and think outside the box constantly and take action and take the no's, because it's a numbers game until you figure it out, until you find a niche. If you've got a race license already, maybe you can start to coach drivers that are racing, coach gentleman drivers who would like somebody to sit in there like a pro and help them go better. So you go to track days and you go to these Brit car days or places where you know gentleman drivers race, and you start to hand out your card for driver coach services. Okay, a lot of them have got driver coaches already, so you might step on a few toes, but you know, I'm just out there promoting myself. And then you never know, if you start to coach a wealthy guy and you get on with him or her, guy or gal, you can then all of a sudden find yourself in a race with them where you're sharing the car with them because they like you that much and you're helping them improve. There is like 101 different ways to get a race seat. So I don't want to come away from what this message is today, but it's like, guys and gals, it's November. Race season is starting soon. It's coming. You should be out there training. If you're not, what are you waiting for? I'm waiting to get the money. Okay, get the damn money. Come up with a plan. Find out something you can afford and just get on with it. No more talking. Just do it.